GM who's been at this whole role-playing game thing for years. I have written for various games such as the World of Darkness game lines, just really Vampire the Masquerade. And currently I'm writing for Mighty Narwhal Productions, which has put out the Mora cinematic gaming system. One of the settings specifically for this system is what we'll be playing today. It's called Punching Nazis. It's pretty much what it says on the tin. This is a World War II style game with a lot of supernatural elements where the characters basically come together to fight the Germans and the Thule Society and their weird occult experiments that they've been using specifically to try and conquer the world. With that, I think I'll go ahead and do a quick round of introductions for our lovely players today. And tell them a little about themselves and who they'll be playing.
I'm Erin, playing Zamfira, a monster hunter, motivated by revenge. I hold a grudge.
I'm Mel. I'm playing Dominique. I'm a light bringer. I'm a healer type, and I love my gadgets and doing things and fixing things. Motivated by revenge, and I'm here to punch Nazis.
I am Brian. I will be playing Nigel Everton Crowley, the War Magician, motivated by ambition, obviously.
Obvious.
I'm Adam. I'm playing Sasha Sokolov. I'm the Night Witch, and my motivation is to one-up the Americans.
I'm Jacob. I'm playing Alex Kaminsky, who... I don't even know how to sum this fellow up. He's had some things done to him, and he, I think, just wants to get out. Wants to go home, live his life.
His best life.
And who doesn't? Unfortunately, all of these lovely, lovely folks are caught in the middle of a raging war that has gone throughout Europe with lots of occupied territory with a force that can really only be described as evil in a lot of different senses. For those of you who are watching, content warning right up front. This game will in fact feature Nazis, and specifically the horrors and predations of the German army during World War II. If this is going to be something that is upsetting to you, this is probably a good idea. It's probably a good idea at this point specifically to watch another stream, because your mental health is more important than watching us be goofballs. For everybody here at the table, if something comes up in play that you are decidedly uncomfortable with, all you have to say is, "That's not in my contract." Very simple cinematic term. And at that point, the scene stops. We don't cover that topic, whatever it is that is not in your contract, and we move on to something else. Because, well, players are more important than game. Before we dive into tonight's adventure, I want to have our delightful group here share a memory about something they experienced together while on a previous mission. There was this nice little coffee shop in Brussels, unfortunately occupied at the time. And they may have started a proper bar fight brawl in this little coffee shop with a couple of SS officers. So remember that one time you beat up some SS officers in Brussels?
Oh, do I? It was great. I heard that they had really great espresso, but I certainly loved it whenever it got on their face. Alex, didn't you see somebody there that you recognized?
Ooh. I did. It was. Give me a second. Let me look at my sheet again real quick. I did. It was a doctor I knew from when I was captured. And I don't think he would expand on that at all. Let me get. I don't have everybody else's name in front of me.
That's actually something that might actually be helpful, at least kind of on our back end, is to include your character name along with your actual name to make sure that we all remember who's who here.
I guess we'll do a handoff with this one of, well, that doctor was that the one that Sasha got? I remember they landed a really good hit.
Yeah, that was me. I just right square across the jaw. I remember that doctor because the doctor was the one who took care of my family, when that we were kind of running from that big family secret where I was raised by my dad, but turns out that my dad's not my dad. The doctor knew. So
Dang, that doctor's really getting around on screwing up people's family secrets.
So when you say take care of, do you mean take care of or like take care of?
Shh. Is the doctor your dad?
no, the doctor's not my dad. I was adopted by who I thought was my father, but it turns out the man who raised me is the one who killed my family.
Oh, well.
That doctor certainly deserved that punch then, for a few reasons, it seems.
Yeah, he deserved a lot more, but I got one good hit in.
It's fair. It's fair.
Did that doctor walk away?
No, the doctor actually landed, and Dominic caught him.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, I caught him. He kind of fell on top of me and shoved me into a wall. I think I got a concussion.
Oh.
Rung my bell.
Yeah, I don't remember you getting a concussion. I might have been like too far deep into the combat there. I remember smashing glasses and shattered, glass and debris everywhere. Nigel, what were you doing this entire time? Taking pictures?
Oh no. Doctor fell down. Doctors have drugs.
Ah.
I'm an opportunist. What do you want me to do? I'm not going to get in a fight. That's for you guys.
Fair enough.
This is why we keep you around, Nigel. Somebody has to manage our resources, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, somebody's got to pay for this stuff. And I mean, I'll do it. I'd rather not. I'll have the doctor pay for it. I just won't tell him that he paid for it.
Serves him right.
All right. I think I've got a good feel for all of y'all, and I think that's a really good way to break the ice. It feels like I know that you've all role played in different scenarios before, but this also gives me an idea of kind of how all of you interact with each other, especially in a gaming environment. So thank you for that. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and do a quick explanation of what Mora is. Mora is a role-playing game system that is specifically based on the language of movies and taking kind of a cinematic format and structure and giving it a role-playing game treatment. A lot of things here are going to be challenging, but it's not going to necessarily be everyone is going to be at the mercy of the dice. These are the stars of the movie. These characters are, this is a beautiful ensemble cast for this particular adventure. And they're going to have cool things that they can do. And they're going to run into folks who are just as awesome as they are. but the general consensus is the good guys usually win. It's just a question about what cost. The year is 1943. Most of you at this point are specifically in and around southern England. Just a little bit outside of London. London has been kind of busy. Alex, before your life as a test subject of the Thule Society, you were a tailor. The Order of Victory, which is a group of allied forces of various mundane and supernatural bents, were able to get you out and get you back to somewhere where you can basically start over. And there is specifically an Order of Victory safe house here in the area. So I think let's go ahead and start with you. How would Alex normally start his day?
I feel like he probably lives in an apartment above or behind a tailor shop, whether or not it's one that he owns. It's certainly one that he works at. And he probably has like a very small breakfast, like a hot beverage, probably a tea, and like, half a piece of toast, like just barely a breakfast, and he probably goes downstairs and sweeps up any kind of dust from anything that may have rattled off the shelves in the night, make sure that everything's in order. He probably spends like 15 minutes just sort of downstairs, not meditating exactly, but that's what we would call it now for sure. And
so I'm going to go ahead and stop you there. During that quiet meditation, it's a beautiful English spring morning. The sun is somewhat shining. It's starting to warm up for the day, and then suddenly you hear a loud and the flapping of wings, large, leathery wings. This is not necessarily an uncommon sound, but it's definitely not one that you expect to hear this close. That sounds like a dragon. Specifically, one of the dragons for the, pull up my notes real quick so I can remember the exact name. Is that, there we go. As the part of the 2nd International Air Cavalry. They don't just fly airplanes, but they also fly dragons. In fact, your windows start to rattle a little bit just from the gusts of wind coming in. That dragon's flying pretty close. What do you do?
I think he does the same thing that Californians do when there's an earthquake. He goes outside to look.
As someone from California, I resemble that remark. So Alex goes outside. Now, everybody else here, Nigel, Zamfira, Sasha, Dominique, you're based on various things that you've worked on and other missions that you've had, you're conveniently at the Order of Victory safe house, right? Is this you hear this noise as well, because dragons are quiet. And as dear Alex comes out to look, the dragon lands softly with remarkable grace and economy of movement, and with amazing spatial awareness of its actual wingspan in the village square. And atop this dragon is a young, cocky man in flight goggles and a flight suit. He kisses the dragon on the top of its head. It snorts, and then the man hops down off the dragon like he's literally just come off a plane. He has that crotch first swagger that automatically identifies him as an American. Everybody in town knows it. At this point, I think I'll be going around the table and saying, okay, so what have our other folks been doing this morning that would be interrupted by this sudden arrival of a rather large and remarkably well navigated dragon? I'll go ahead and start with Sasha. What is Sasha up to this morning?
I'm just trying to drink my coffee and just kind of look around and like, you call that a dragon?
Dominique, what about you?
This morning, I was reading the paper and drinking some black coffee. No cream, no sugar, no muss, no fuss. And washed my cup very carefully with the same number of scrubs and strokes. Make sure it was nice and dry. Put it upside down, back with its saucer and its spoon to be used at the next coffee break. And I hear the shriek. And I kind of raise an eyebrow and roll my eyes and go, "Oh, Fluffy and Billy Bob are here." And roll my eyes and keep going. Just getting ready for work.
Zamfira, how about you?
Zamfira might already be gearing up for a bar brawl. And so she's out there just kind of watching, maybe doing some very nonchalant stretches. Just kind of like, all right.
Mm-hmm. This one does. This one does. And then, of course, we have our dear Nigel.
Nigel slept in.
I was about to say, is he even awake yet?
Nigel slept in, nursing a brutal hangover, what would be for people not used to it. And with the commotion and the rattling windows, falls out of bed, and everyone else eventually sees Nigel, leaving the building, still partially getting dressed. This is what you brought us? Should have slept in further.
The name strip on the jumpsuit reads O'Toole. Big American flag on the left arm patch.
Hey, Toole.
To Zamfira. Danny O'Toole is one of the cockiest American dragon aces you're going to find in a while. But it's not without reason. He has some of the highest confirmed kills out of his unit. So he's not a slouch, but he knows it. How are my favorite, bestest friends today?
Well, that's a low bar.
No, the low bar is the one that you fell over under last night.
That wasn't that low.
I'm still trying to figure out who your best friends are. But anyway, welcome.
I mean, if it's us, what does that say about you?
Quite a bit, actually. Y'all are not bad. Like even Sasha's okay.
Okay, fine.
I actually have something specific for a bunch of y'all, and I've got a list of patting down his flight suit. Where's that list?
Oh, you can
Oh
write.
yeah.
That's good.
Oh no, man! This is a missive from the Order of Victory. They typed this. I didn't write this.
Ah, okay.
All right. So
Nice
Dominique.
onesie, by the way.
It's my flight suit. It's a very
Yes,
nice
sir,
flight
Mr.
suit.
Tool.
O'Toole. Lieutenant Danny O'Toole, in fact. Lieutenant O'Toole to you.
Oh, tools.
Okay.
All right. So I'm looking for Alex Kaminsky, Nigel Everton Crowley, Sasha Sokolov, Zemfira Lazaret. I can't pronounce that. Apologies. And Dominique Belrose? Yeah, I think I've got everybody. Got y'all here?
That's us.
Yep.
Depends.
Oh, hallelujah. I thought I was going to have to call all of them. Let's go ahead and go in the safe house and I can brief you. We've got a mission for you, and y'all's specific talents are exactly what we're going to need.
Aye, aye, Tole.
Well, since you ask so nicely.
Lazarescu.
Thank you. Order Victory. They got orders.
Will we get to wear matching onesies too?
Well, don't I want to say the Night Witches have their own onesies, yeah? The flight suits.
Oh, okay.
I
So,
think I lost mine.
with that, Danny trots on down to that local pub, Kensington's. Everybody knows Kensington's. But not everybody knows about the secret entrance spot behind the beer barrels. But all you do, because that leads you into the Order of Victory safe house for the day. It's one of many scattered out Allied territory, and there's even a couple of bolt holes behind enemy lines. Some of you were already there, so this is not really, you're basically heading back to where you were at before. Dan immediately heads in the kitchen and starts making himself a damn fine cup of coffee. So the Order of Victory helped all of y'all out, getting out of various scrapes and out of dangerous situations, or helped you nurture your talents for the war effort. Now they need your help. We were able to smuggle some resources out of Greece, specifically farming and agriculture resources, and we need to get them into France. We need a group of folks who can help escort these resources and their handler, specifically past the channel, past Calais, and deeper into France. Last I checked, most of y'all don't really have anything else you're doing right now, right? Or at least that's what I'm hearing from my higher ups.
Well, somebody's always needing a band-aid, so I don't know if that's true for me. However, here I am.
Well, that's part of the reason why we have you here, Madame Belrose, specifically to heal things up just in case we do run into any of the German forces or the Fool Society's nastier.
Sure, because shipping,
Trees.
yeah, because smuggling manure or farming supplies or whatever, it's got to be really dangerous. What's so dangerous about these particular supplies?
Right now, that's classified, but I suspect you will find out. Our contact will be here later today. Gentleman by the name of, let's set his notes again, just to squint at it. Evangelos Papadakis. Apparently, he's very talented in creating agricultural supplies in this particular vein. I'm not even sure exactly what he does. They just gave me a name and they said he said he had a source for much needed resources to make sure that the resistance in France gets fed.
I'm hearing explosives, but I guess if it's food specifically, then who knows? But is an overlap between farming supplies and explosives maybe?
It's actually some of your particular talents that are going to be helpful here.
Yeah.
Zamfira, you said your name was. Apparently, there's something about this that is particularly supernatural in nature. And your knowledge, especially your martial prowess against certain types of enemies, may be helpful here.
Do you have anything I could start researching on while we wait for the contact?
Greek mythology.
Okie doke.
Now, I will be joining you as part of this, but I will be primarily aerial recon. From what I understand, I will be working with Nick Sokolov here, specifically for that purpose. You can be on the ground if you like, or you can be in the air.
I'll stay on the ground.
That's
personally.
Well, yeah. Yes, you will, but you don't have a plane like our Sasha does here.
Fair.
Is your plane nearby?
Yeah, but will we be in the same plane together?
No.
Okay, then I'll take this guy.
Yeah. We will, yeah. I'll be on Razorback. Jerks his thumb back outside.
Razorback.
And this is where Danny O'Toole levels his gaze at Zamfira. I have known that creature since I was 13 years old, and it chose me specifically to be its writer.
Trust the bonds between writer and dragon. The name was maybe a bit on the nose.
That was the name it told me.
Oh, well, pardon to it. To him? Her? It?
Him.
To him. Okay. Pardon to him.
Dragons can be teenagers too and be a little, well, teenager-y.
That's fair point. But despite the name, I have learned to not poke at those that are bigger than me and can fly.
He has stopped eating humans.
Oh, good.
As of about a year ago.
Okay.
That was a really hard habit to break.
Yeah.
Only took leaving America, huh?
We're pretty fatty in content. So.
Something about the European diet just doesn't sit well with him.
But
well, nice to come back to your elders.
Ooh.
So, Nigel, it says here you're probably going to be your best options here are going to be obviously magical support and monetary support. Apparently, one of your relatives owes a favor or two, and we can count on you specifically to get the resources that we'll need to make sure the logistics on this happen.
Well, I don't know
need
about...
to call, or what do you call him? Daddy?
Some people do. And his favors don't necessarily apply to me, but I'm willing to be owed.
Fair enough. Well, you're using his money, and I'm sure he's going to have questions.
Well, that's his problem.
It's as if dealing with the entire theosophical fate of England wasn't enough. And
is it ever enough?
No, it's really not. Mr. Kaminsky, yes? I understand you're a tailor.
That's right.
That means you probably listen to folks as they come in and get measurements. You know how to listen to things.
Mm-hmm.
That skill is going to be pretty useful on the road, especially as, well, you might need to make sure that we're not being tailed, or if you hear anything about troop movements, we'll know what to avoid. I mean, we all will need to keep our ears open, but that is going to be your specific guideline. Now, I know you have very deep history with the Thule Society, from what I have been told. I don't know the specifics. They didn't tell me specifics. But I am very, very sorry for what they did to you.
Thank you.
Which means that, unfortunately, it means you have an intimate knowledge of what they could potentially do, and we may need that going in. I'm not entirely sure why they're bringing this particular package out all the way out to Dover, specifically to go back across the channel, when they could have just literally brought it around, but I think they needed to check in on something first here in England. But our contact will be here later this evening. With any luck, it should be a relatively uneventful trip, but, well, we'll see, right? Any questions? Okay, so I'm gonna have myself a cup of coffee and take a nap. Because I've literally been flying for the past 12 hours. It's not fun.
Oh, well, Razorback's been flying, but sure.
Have you ever ridden a horse, Nick Sokolov?
Yeah. Sometimes.
It requires the same kind of muscle use, but it acts a much higher intensity because you're dealing with a much bigger animal.
Sure. Yeah.
The only time that my ass is hurt that much after 12 hours is, well, I won't talk about it next time.
Oh, so in your dreams?
More like at one of Mr. Crowley's parties.
Okay.
Not you.
I know.
Wow, Nigel, I thought I had family drama being haunted by my grandfather, but ooh, yikes. I'm going to go read some books, I guess.
Sweet dreams, I'll wake. Well, sweet dreams to me. Do whatever you need to prep for this trip, because I know y'all have a fair bit to do. Coffee naps are the best.
Well, everyone, a fantastic farewell to Lieutenant Giant O'Toole.
So you have some time before Mr. Papadakis comes in with a strange shipment. How would you like to prepare for your trip across the channel and into German-occupied France?
First, another cup of coffee. It's got to be caffeinated.
Always a good plan.
kind of left him.
Check.
I'm sorry.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. I should probably go check on my plane. Make sure it's ready to go.
Your plane is exactly as you left it. The Russian night witches are very good about making sure that not only are their aircraft well maintained, but there are some small magical items in place specifically to make maintenance a little bit easier, and that comes directly from the hangar in Moscow.
Cool.
I'm going to spend a little time just kind of looking through my gear, doing kind of an inventory, counting out, making sure I have so many of this and so many of this, and compare my list with my things and make sure I have everything where it needs to go, just so in my bags.
Perfect. As a light bringer in service to the Order of Victory, they have in fact issued you a specific medical bag for these sorts of things to make sure that you are always prepared, and it comes with a handy dandy inventory list, which makes it really easy.
Oh yes, it's good to have a list.
Zamfira, what are you up to?
In a series of montages, I am grabbing, opening, and dramatically flipping through pages of a book, trying to do some research on Greek mythology and whatnot to have any idea and make sure I'm all up to date and prepared.
Okay. With that in mind, and looking at what you have handy, I want you to go ahead and make a roll for your research. So in Mora, rolls are really simple. It is your attribute, which is either body, heart, mind, or soul, plus the relevant skill. For this one, go ahead. It's going to be mind plus knowledge. So you add those two together. That's 9. And then roll 2d6. And then tell me your results.
16.
That is good enough. This is going to be kind of a standard difficulty, so it's going to be about difficulty 15. There are a lot of very interesting myths about Greek mythology, in Greek mythology specifically about farming and farming implements. But specifically in relation to your areas of expertise, well, Zeus has been known to transform himself into multiple types of animals, specifically to get the attention of various women. Some of those animals are very good at, producing fecal matter that's good for fertilizer.
Mid-reading, I shut the book a little bit and open back up again.
It's a good thing we're not swans.
Yes, okay, bulls, let's go.
And there are more than a few others to kind of give you a hint, but various other creatures they're related to fertility and various gods and goddesses, obviously Persephone, spring, seasonal cycles. There's a lot of different things you could potentially pull from, but you suspect if they're calling you in for it, there's got to be something monstrous out of it.
Are we thinking Minotaur?
That is definitely high on the possibility list. Yes.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna just start, I guess, making a list of saying who. High fecal matter production, beastly and / monstrous.
And they can make a lot of fertilizer.
It does kind of make you ask, what kind of bullshit quest is this?
A little bit.
Yeah.
Alex, what are you up to?
I think Alex probably packs just like the smallest possible amount of clothes, like an extremely modest bag. And he probably either closes up the shop or his primary thing is like finding someone to look after it while he's gone. I imagine that he gets someone from the order to do that.
Oh, yeah.
And
there is, in fact, a very eager tailor's apprentice that they're able to pull in to keep an eye on things for a while.
Yeah.
Her name is Penny. She's very sweet, very exuberant, and she does give you a quick phone call later in the day, letting you know that things will be taken care of, and I'll leave everything exactly as I left, sir.
As long as it's still in there, I'll be able to find it.
Yes, sir. It'll be fantastic, sir. She's very exuberant. It's actually kind of adorable.
Yeah, I imagine Alex both finds it adorable and is drained immediately.
It is, in fact, that kind of exuberance, yes. Nigel.
Nigel is spending his time, continuing to sober up and meticulously sort of gathering different supernatural and alchemical sort of elements, silver, sulfur, salt, trying to not accidentally mix it with a variety of drugs.
That is a very good way to result in some very, very strange trips. There's one you still don't remember. No matter how many spells you've tried to regain memories of that particular evening, it's just a blank. It's gone.
It's kind of flipping.
Be very careful about that.
Flipping through the notebook of all the different combinations I've tried, trying to re-experience that. It's like, not those. That's for another night. And then, just packing up other just, clothing and, bits of that, a literal silver spoon, and just zip, throw on some sunglasses, slick my hair back, and walk out the door.
So, y'all are able to make your preparations fairly easily. And as the sun starts to dip below the horizon, a cart, a horse-drawn cart, pulls into the village. And seated at the front of this cart is a very stout, mustachioed Greek man. Dark hair, swarthy in the way that, he spent a lot of time outside. Built like a fire plug, short but broad. Cursing at the horse to go faster in Greek.
I want to make a great first impression on him and just be like, it's bullshit! You're carting bullshit!
I beg your pardon?
It's fertilizer? Yes. Minotaur shit?
Close.
Bull of Minos shit.
Close.
Okay.
And that's when you hear it. In the large crate that is in the back of this cart, it fills the entire bed of the cart. You hear a soft moo.
Just a cow?
Just a little one?
Wait, the like.
And this is where I'm going to give all of you who are present for this particular event, if you want to be present, you are more than welcome to. I want you to go ahead and make a heart plus notice roll. So it's your heart attribute plus your notice skill. If you have any qualities or MacGuffins, which are special gear, that would give you a bonus to that, you are free to use them. And the difficulty of this is a 15. Not terribly challenging.
$14.
Okay.
12.
17.
That's what you get.
Single digit.
Wait.
Oof.
Okay,
Sasha?
We add the number we rolled to the heart plus notice. Is that right?
Yes.
16.
Zamfira and Sasha. That soft moo isn't necessarily due to the animal's size. It almost seems like it's sad. And conveying it in such a way, in a particular level of depth, that is not what you would expect from a standard barnyard animal. There is some intelligence behind this. Whatever this bovine creature is, it has enough intelligence and sentience to have feelings developed almost to the point of human.
Now, what do you think, Zamfira?
I'm more suspicious. What I'm thinking. Is this relate to Crete? Like, I wanna.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it does.
Okay. This.
We had to take a very, very roundabout way to get here.
All right. We are just gonna leave the Minotaur in the crate. Can't give him a disguise. Okay.
Sounds like it's suffering so much. This seems very inhumane. What reason do you have to keep them so confined like this?
This is not by choice. That said, as I'm sure, since you have figured out what is in the crate, there are a few other things that you should be aware of. Yes, this is a Minotaur. Not just any, the very first. There are mystical properties to its, how do I say this delicately? Wherever it relieves itself, crops grow much more quickly. However, it must be fresh, so we cannot simply collect and set it elsewhere. And unfortunately, my homeland has been occupied. We can't go back, at least not anytime soon. At least until this cursed war is over.
It has a magical poo.
He's not the only creature that has leavings of supernatural potency, but it's the one that I have. Pardon me, let me introduce myself. Evangelist Papadakis. My family has been specifically in the business of taking care of this creature for many generations. He is like a son to me. I don't want him to be in the crate, but the horns. The horns are very large and very conspicuous and very hard to hide. It's also a very large creature. Can't just walk around like you or I. We need to keep it covered. Otherwise, the Germans may try to take it for himself. And the Thule Society would do a great deal, not only with, well, I don't want to get into it because, quite frankly, I do not want to think about one of my oldest and dearest friends being butchered for supernatural research by a truly evil force. Do you?
What is your friend's name?
We call him BB.
BB.
He has cycles where he likes to feel a little younger. Sometimes he likes to feel like an old man, but when you live thousands of years, sometimes these things happen. He's the bombings definitely caused what's our psychologists would call a regression. He's almost.
Well, a monster of intelligence in such history does deserve to be protected. I suppose we should get this going sooner rather than later. Right.
And shortly after this conversation starts to wrap up, Donnie comes jogging out of Kensington's in his full suit. Oh shit, I'm late. Mr. Papadakis, right?
It's okay, Johnny. Glad you could make it. It's all bullshit. We're heading out soon.
Wait. Like, literal bullshit?
You gonna check?
Maybe. If you look in the box, call it BB.
BB's the goodest boy.
Danny, Fear Sweet Danny is not the brightest tool in the box.
Aw, he's the goodest boy too.
I bet.
He goes over to the back of the cart. He pokes his head in, trying to look through the slots. Gets a little close. And you hear this almost like a snort sound coming from the crate. Oh, Jesus! What did that thing eat? Oh, good Lord! Oh! He starts wiping off his glasses because they've got fogged up. It's like, I'm not going to ask any questions. I'm just not. No. Just Mr. Papadakis, I trust you to handle whatever the heck that is. To his credit, Evangelos is doing his level best to not die of laughter right there on the cart. He's managing to hold it in beautifully. And with that, you have some options. It is starting to get down to evening. Sometimes it's actually a little bit easier to travel under the cover of night. You can also potentially, start your journey during the day. How would you like to handle the logistics of getting Evangelos and his dear BB across the English Channel and into German-occupied France?
One of my action pools is to transport. Does that?
Yes. Transport is specifically for moving things and people. Quite a few of you have that.
I thought I was special.
Well, you have it at the highest because you're awesome.
Oh.
I only have moved through crowds, so I'm not great for rivers. You have a plane.
Unfortunately, the plane is not quite large enough to handle the crate you see in the back of that cart.
Dang.
Can the dragon hold a crate? Can we like strap the crate to our American friend's dragon?
You could, actually. Would you like to bring that up to Danny?
Oh boy.
I mean, yeah, sure, why not?
Danny has made his way back to Kensington's to start like stuffing his things in his go bag and like getting Razorback ready for whatever trip this is going to be.
So, Danny.
Yeah?
We need to move BB across the, yeah, Snorty McSnorterson over there. We need a
This boy.
we need to transport it across the English Channel.
Okay, so you have a few options here. There are clandestine ferries that can get you across the channel so you're not going in any specific ports. Wait, you're looking at me for this. What do you want?
Well, you're kind of the only one with the biggest tool for the job.
Why, thank you.
Yeah.
Wait. You want my Razorback, my dear sweet Razorback, to basically be a fucking Jeep? Is that what you want?
Well, I mean, you drive it, so yes.
Carries your American ass.
Right. You want to help out, right? You're here, we're helping you. You want to help us?
Well, how are the rest of you going to get across? Well, I know
we
how
can
you're
dig a
getting.
ship.
If we don't
Well, yeah, there's ferries across the channel. There's ferries across the channel all the time.
Yeah.
So, okay.
And we'll meet you over there. They're not looking for us.
They're not looking for me either.
Right.
Wouldn't the Razorback be the safest way to,
They're looking for Mr. Papadakis.
Well, he can stay here.
Well,
no, he can't. According to my intelligence, he needs to be with the creature because otherwise no one's going to know how to handle it.
Can you fly Mr. Papadakis? And I guess that's what the plan is. You fly him and then we escort BB, right? Like,
I wish it was as easy as me just flying.
So we have to keep them together, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
No, whatever option you try, we do need to keep them together. I mean, I could theoretically, get them across the channel. That's not terribly difficult. If I end up in a dogfight, though, that's going to be a little tricky. I kind of have a target on my head because we're not the only folks with Dragon Air Cavalry.
Okay.
Could Mr. Papadopoulos, is that his name? Papadakis. Can he ride with me and I escort you?
That could potentially work, and then I guess the rest of our caravan, at least we're getting across the channel. We can meet at a certain point, a little bit further south of Calais, probably a little bit further into Brittany at that point, just so we're not like immediately getting the attention of German patrols.
What do you guys think?
It's as good a plan as any.
Sure.
Let's do this.
We must take the utmost care of our goodest boy. Are you sure your Razorback is going to have a smooth ride? It's going to be protected. We won't drop him. We won't hurt him or jostle him too much. We must treat him kindly and humanely.
I'll do my best. But it's not even the most comfortable ride for me sometimes.
Well, maybe you should learn how to ride. You might not be doing it right.
You know, like a horse.
Exactly. You're not supposed to have a chapped ass when you get done riding a horse. Maybe you should practice more.
Oh, you British people and your humor. Can't quite keep up.
As the Americans say, let's get her done.
Have attention.
All right.
Do we have a pun counter by any
Pun counter?
You know, we really should. I wish I had known to ask for one.
You know, for next time, always ask.
All right. Well, I do have another session coming up with a different cohort in a couple of weeks, so I'll remember to ask for that one. All right. So it sounds like we actually have a reasonable plan. Okay.
Side question, just so I'm looking at my action pools. I have this thing throwing shade. Is that literal shade? Is that social shade?
That is primarily social shade, but
Okay.
You know what? If you have the right combination of spells, you can absolutely do that.
Okay.
You have a few different schools of magic you can use at your disposal, and I'm sure you could use one of those specifically to toss some sort of shadow or shadowy like substance at your enemies.
Fair enough.
I am glad that you asked, though. All right, so are you planning on doing this under cover of night or during daylight, or how you want to do this?
I think night makes the most sense.
Yeah.
Least amount of eyes.
I agree.
All right.
How many can my plane hold? Like, how big is my plane? Are we talking like invisible plane, or?
It's not a terribly large. Unfortunately, it's not a terribly large aircraft. It's primarily specifically for combat purposes. For like quick maneuvering, you can fit maybe one other person with you. But so yes, if you wanted to fit Evangelos in there with you, you can absolutely do so.
Okay.
So the little cubbies where the ammo and things might be stored on that plane, are those full or are those empty? Is the plane armed?
That's a good question. Why don't you tell us, Sasha?
I don't go anywhere unarmed.
Okay. So we can't squeeze one of us in a little cubby or something.
That would be very painful.
Trust me, I'll take the boat. Like, I will be in a ferry. Hidden some tight spaces, and it's not discovered claustrophobia. Yeah.
No worries. If anybody gets motion sick, I have a Dramamine. We can take care of this.
Thank you.
Indeed.
Welcome. Anytime.
All right. So you make your way to the shore under the cover of darkness. It is very dark outside. We're literally in bumfuck nowhere in the south of England, ready to cross the English Channel. And there is, in fact, radio contact between Razorback, Sasha, and their plane, and the group, because that was insisted upon for easy communication. As you get closer to the shore, Danny's radio pipes up and there's distressed mooing on the other side.
He has to go walkies.
This is going to be a very interesting trip. and there's a huff of a dragon. It's very clear that the Minotaur and the dragon are probably having some sort of existential argument that none of us can understand.
Should have let them sniff each other first.
The only problem with that is dragon sniffed it. There may have been a little bit of flame involved, and then at that point we have barbecue instead of bullshit.
Fair enough.
Shut the door and let them
It's just
kind of sniff
hot
each other
bullshit.
under the...
Yeah.
Probably don't need to set it on fire.
Please don't. I mean, we did ask for explosives, so you know.
We're going as fast as we can for the comfort and ease of our animal companions.
Yes. For his parts, Evangelos politely asks Sasha, may I borrow the radio, please?
Sure, go right ahead.
And Evangelos takes the radio and he starts making softer, kind of more bovine noises into it, and he starts to calm down.
Oh, good.
He's in fact the Minotaur Whisperer.
He knows Daddy's voice.
All right. So, and this is the part where we all figure out whether or not y'all get there without any muscle or fuss. So for the folks who are going by boat, the Order of Victory is able to arrange a ferry for all of y'all, which includes the cart, because you'll need it once you get on the other side. Just in case for some reason or another it is a bad idea to fly the dragon over once you hit occupied territory. And Dan can literally list 5 or 6 right off the top of his, which include, you know, getting shot down. Not because of BB, but because of Danny. So I'm going to go ahead and roll something really quick to see if any sentries will catch the sides. Okay. So what I'm going to need for the folks who are traveling by boat is a body plus subterfuge. If you have something that is going to be easier for you to hide things or hide yourself, such as concealment, you can actually use your specialty.
Can I use blend in with Europeans?
So that's going to be a little bit more when you get in on the ground. That's more continental. So things that you can do with your specializations is you can lower the difficulty by 5 if you like. You can also, so basically you have specializations not only in your skills but in your attributes. You can spend any of those specifically to either if you have consequences coming in, which are basically like damage for this system, you use that to remove consequences. You can use it to lower the difficulty rating of a challenge, something like this, by a single tier. So there's several different tiers, or 5, whichever's more. If you're specifically trying to hit something, you can reduce its plot armor, or basically its 2-hit score, by 5. And for this one, to get across the channel without being noticed, this is going to be a body plus subterfuge. With a difficulty of 20. If you do not have a skill, you're at a have the skill that the roll calls for, you're at a -3 TRP. For those folks who are in the air, it's going to be a body plus transport. You can also treat this as a teamwork exercise where you choose one person specifically as kind of the person who's primarily rolling. And then for every 5 points that somebody who's contributing has in their action pool. So say, for example, Zamfira would be the one who's rolling and I have an action pool of 10. If they were doing it as a teamwork roll, Zamfira would be making the roll, but I would be adding +2 to her action pool before the roll's even made. So you have a few different options on how you want to do that.
And when you use them, are they gone?
For specializations, if you spend a specialization to reduce the difficulty, then yes, it's gone for the session.
Okay.
So I have a base action pool of 7 for body plus subterfuge. And
Okay.
with a specialization of concealment, who else is on the boat with me? Is it just
That's going to be Alex, Nigel, and Dominique.
okay? Does anybody else have higher base?
Mine is also 7.
Okay.
Mine's 6,
Okay.
Okay.
which mathematically cannot hit
So-
20.
Yeah,
Mhm.
neither can 7. So
Yeah. So
is
so
that
you can spend a specialization to reduce it to 15 if you like.
okay.
And then you could also teamwork it if you like.
So I can use the specialization and use teamwork?
Yes.
Or
If you're the one who's rolling, you can absolutely you'd be the one spending your specialization.
okay.
So
They don't also
basically-
roll to grow their action pool. It's just based on what they
it's just what's
okay.
on your sheet. Yeah. So for example, so you have a base of 7.
So-
Both Alex and Nigel would be contributing +1. Dominique, what was your action pool for that? Actually, I can look that up. 1 second. Your body is 5. You do not have the subterfuge, so that would be
So it also
2. I'm going to call that a minimum of 1. So 1 for each of you. So you're starting with a 7. With each person here, it's going to be a 10.
Mm-hmm.
And since you spend a specialization, the difficulty is going to be 15.
Okay.
So go ahead and roll it.
Used my concealment, I guess.
Yep.
That was a 7 for a
Grand total of 17.
yep.
All right. Sasha, did you want to potentially teamwork this, or did you want to roll separately?
Well, my base was 12.
Okay. And Danny's is a 9. Actually, there's a couple other MacGuffins and whatnot, so that'll put him at an 11. So we can either roll separately if you want to, one up the Americans, or you can teamwork this if you like. How would you like to play this?
I want to one up the Americans.
Okay. In that case, we're both rolling for a difficulty of 20. If you have a specific specialization you would like to spend, you can do so to reduce that to a 15.
So, sorry. Where do I find the specialization?
It is so you have specializations under attributes and under skills. If you're going to spend a specialization, I recommend you use the skill one first because your attribute specializations actually contribute to your plot armor.
Right.
Which is, when enemies try to hit you.
So whichever one I use is done for the session, right?
Yeah. And it has to be applicable to the situation.
Okay, so I would imagine it would be transport, right? Would be
Yes.
Yeah.
So that would be
5.
Yeah. So your transport skill is 5. Actually, I believe transport Yeah, and actually, since you are on your plane and your plane counts as a familiar, your pool for that is 14.
I'm sorry, what's 14?
Your action pool. Since you're in your plane, because you're a night witch, you have a specific quality that basically makes it your familiar. So it's not just, you know, the night witches not only are crack pilots, but they're also magically attuned to their planes.
Right.
It's literally, and the you have a quality basically makes sure, like I said, your airplane is your familiar. So since you're flying your normal plane, it's, you know, your body plus transport and then +4 because it adds to your, because the plane itself adds to your pool.
Okay. Great. So you said that's 14? Nope. Am I frozen or? Nope. All right. So just to make sure I understand.
I think she did say that the pool was 14.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's 14 plus 2d6 for you.
Okay. Well, I rolled a 4. So 18.
Okay. Danny also didn't roll terribly well. So as you fly, so the folks in the boat are fine. Guys, you know, driving the boat, pretty chill dude, speaks only French. But Dominique, that's not a problem for you because they speak French in Belgium. There's some words that are different, but you understand most of the curse words.
Of course.
Apparently people curse a lot in World War II.
Hell yeah, they do.
And Sasha and Danny up in the sky. Dear Sasha, dear Sasha, in their desire to one-up the Americans, there's some maneuvering involved. Danny's not bad. He doesn't have the added advantage of a plane being a familiar and dragons effectively being sentient and having their own ideas on things. And it doesn't really help that Razorback smells beef. Razorback loves beef. But Razorback can't have beef. So he's a little cranky at Danny right now. As a matter of fact, sometimes over the radio you can actually hear Danny arguing with Razorback, and there's little, like, dragon growly noises. No, you can't have it. I promise I'll get you a cow when we land. And then you hear other planes from above of unfamiliar engine make. Or maybe familiar, but not necessarily in the friendly way. You hear over the radio, shit, we got company. And Danny wheels off, trying to flank the incoming 2 German spy planes flying across the channel. Sasha, you have the opportunity to either engage or evade. How would you like to play this?
I want to punch some Nazis. Let's engage.
Okay, there you go. First Nazi punch of the night. Here we go. All right. So this is where we get into a little something called call sheet. There will be plenty of opportunities for the folks on the ground to get involved as they like, because you'll be able to see all of this, and there are quite a few of you who have magical things you can throw in the fight. So to start off with, everybody who's on the ground in the boat, sees the incoming planes. Boat driver curses in French again, then pulls a tarp off of something in the center of the boat, which looks like it includes some weaponry that you might actually be able to shoot something down with if they're flying low enough. So the way that combat works in Mora is it's determined by your action pool on what you want to do, which means it's going to change probably with every single kind of go through of everything. But it's not just, if you're doing a mental thing, it's based on a body thing. It's actually relevant to what you're trying to do in the moment. So if Zamfira wants to grab one of those guns and start, trying to shoot down a plane that gets too close, she can do that and then puts together an action for it. The guns are pretty standard equipment. They'll give you a +2 bonus to your fighting. Alex, you have something special that if you are launched up into close quarters combat will be exciting. If you choose to go that route. See here, Nigel, you have a whole bunch of spells you can use. So, and Dominique, while you are more healing bent, you at least know how to defend yourself when necessary. Or at least make sure that other people are healed up if they need to be.
So question, I have a couple of specializations. If we can argue that a skill would help with something ever so slightly adjacent, pseudo-related, could we argue to do that, or is that a possibility?
Sell me on it.
Okay.
So a moment like this is specifically a writer's room moment in Mora. So if you have an idea, feel free to. I am the producer. Sell me on it.
Cool. So, for example, in my action pools, I have driving through town. If I feel like I need to command the ferry and steer while other people shoot, that if I could argue that, could that be a possibility?
You can absolutely do that.
Okay.
That also frees up the ferry driver specifically to start shooting as well. So if you want to go ahead and do that, and you're like, you shoot, I'll drive. Absolutely, that is a thing you can do. Okay. And that would for you that would be a body transport. And that would. I'm gonna go ahead and. I'm gonna give you a bonus because you were very clever with it. So that would put your normally it's a body plus transport is 6, but since you were clever about it, I'm giving you a +2 because I'm feeling nice. So that will put your action pool at this as an 8, which puts you at 8 in the call sheet. Cool. Sasha, what do? You're on mute.
Can I stunt fly? I got stunts.
Yes, you can absolutely stunt fly. Stunt fly and shoot things down?
Yeah.
I mean, why the hell not, right? Okay.
Blood. Mm-hmm.
Not see blood. Not see blood. Not see blood.
Oh, see blood. See blood.
See Nazi blood.
Okay. So if you're going to be going kind of more are you going to be going kind of more the trick flying to evade or as a feint? How do you want to do
that? Trick flying to evade or what?
Or as a feint.
Oh.
To basically pull the Germans away and have them start, get being distracted and start shooting you instead.
Oh, I see. To evade.
Okay. All right. So that for you is going to be a body plus stunts. That will be and since you're in your plane, I'm gonna have that's +3 to stunts, so that's going to be an 11 for you. What's Nigel gonna do?
Are the planes coming straight at each other?
So
Perpendicular.
it looks like the Germans are specifically, flying towards the dragon and the Night Witch aircraft. It's not necessarily a direct approach. They're trying to see if they can get like a flanking maneuver in, but obviously people are moving very quickly. Oh, kitty! Sorry, I got distracted.
Can I use elemental magic to kind of create a fog cloud in front
Absolutely.
of their planes?
Absolutely. You can absolutely do that. That is out of school for you, so that's going to be okay. But yeah, you can absolutely do that. That's going to be actually, let me look at the rate sheet. Hold on. I'm here, I promise. All right. Oh wait, no, that is not out of school for you, so that's going to be okay. So that'll also be an 8. Cool. And if at any point you decide that somebody else's action should go before yours, you can absolutely hold your action.
Okay.
Alex, what would you like to do?
Gosh, I mean, all of his fun fighting stuff that he probably doesn't think is fun are to really quite a lot closer. It's a lot less like.
I mean, we can throw you if we need to. You'll have to throw me. Don't tell the American.
What are the weapons that are on the boat that the ferry?
So there are quite a few like rifles and long range firearms that are specifically used, shooting Nazi planes down when they get close enough. Like right. This feels like something this particular ferry driver does for like pot shots over the weekends. So you can absolutely pick up a gun and shoot.
Yeah, I think that would be the option.
Okay.
I think that he would at least try.
Okay. All right. And that will put you at, so you have a body of 5. You don't have the firearm skill, but those do have equipment bonuses. That's going to put you, I'm going to go ahead and just leave it at a base 5. I'm feeling nice. And Zamfira.
Okay. I will pick up one of the long range rifles. I have the firearms skill. It's body firearms. I then also have the world as your weapon.
Yeah.
So that would be a +2. Well, it's a fighting bonus, but
so yeah, so the world as your weapon is specifically for items that are not necessarily intended to be weapons.
Dang it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dang it. Well, okay.
But you're getting a +2 bonus from the equipment bonus specifically because they're from the guns themselves.
Right.
So that's going to be a body plus firearms.
Plus that. So that's 8.
So that's also going to be an 8. Okay.
Okay.
All right. I'm going to go through this real quickly. Danny is going at 10. So the first thing you hear, Danny, you go, "Oh shit!" and you hear the sound of a crate breaking. And a very enraged moo. And what this looks like from below is a large, very large, human-shaped creature with large horns and a long snout, jumping off the back of a dragon and just barely latching on to the end of one of the plane wings of one of the German planes that are coming across.
I'm gonna learn so much now. That's gonna be so great. Hell yeah.
German wavers is very clearly wobbling, and you're having a very hard time controlling the plane at this point. And at this point, Sasha, you're up. So you just want to evasive maneuvers, or do you want to change what you're doing?
Well, if I try to shoot down the plane, then I might hurt BB.
Well, there are two planes.
That's true. I'm gonna go after the other plane.
Okay, cool. All right, so go ahead and difficulty is going to be a 15 here. It's normally it'd be more under cover of night, but you've done this before. You're a night witch. It's literally in the name.
Cool. I rolled a 10.
Okay, and you're actually and I believe your pool with fighting is actually better. Yes, it is. Yeah, so you're able to get a couple of quick shots in on the other German plane, and you catch and the tail of the plane actually starts to catch fire where you hit it. Danny,
burning Nazis.
Yeah.
Burn, 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 burn.
Danny takes a cue from Sasha, wheels around and catches and goes after the plane that has BB hanging off the wing, and goes after the tail of the plane. And with a beautiful gout of flame, the tail of the other plane catches fire as well. Aaron, what would you like to do? The planes are losing elevation. You could probably get a clear shot in if you want.
Sure. Yeah. Let's
difficulty 15. Go for it.
Difficulty 15 with 8 base. Let's go.
Yeah.
11.
The shot goes wide.
Nazis!
Brian, you wanted to use elemental to make flying more difficult for the Germans?
Yes.
Go for it.
8 plus 9, 17.
Suddenly a fog rolls in. Visibility for the Germans makes it a little bit more difficult, but those fires now burn a little more slowly. It's still enough to really hobble the plane, but it's probably not going to completely destroy it now, too, which means BB might be safe. Mel, you are driving this crazy thing.
Yes, I am. So, let's see. So I'm supposed to be perceptive and a quick thinker, and I have some skills in notice and noticing weak points. So maybe can I see where fuel bays or whatever on the planes might be and shout out?
You can absolutely yes, you can absolutely do that. And in fact, because you have a special thing on this where you warn somebody specifically of danger, and if they heed your advice, they get bonuses. So BB's going to get a bonus on his next roll. But as far as kind of steering the boat to a place where you can get a better shot in for some of those weak points, go ahead and do a body plus transport.
So it's 5, 6.
Actually, no. Your action was actually something different. So base of 8. Sorry.
Okay. And I rolled a 9, so that's going to be
17.
17.
You were able to drive the boat in such a way that, as the German planes are losing enough elevation for, shots to get a little bit better aim, and Nigel's better able to make that fog bank happen. It's common on the English coast. And nobody falls over and loses their shit.
Excellent.
Alex, you can go ahead and have an additional +2 to your base because of that. So your base will be 7 for trying to shoot down the Nazi plane.
Okay. He's gonna try.
Go for it.
$15.
That does it. So you actually wing the other wing of the plane, and the one where BB's on starts to spiral. It's like basically it's gonna crash into the channel. So that's one down, and the other one looks like it's probably gonna crash land on the nearby shore, which is actually on the right side of France at this point. I'm gonna do one last roll for BB. BB, bless him, manages to control his descent and lands on the ferry with a pretty heavy thunk. The whole ferry kind of wobbles with the whole shock of it because, fell from a fairly decent height, and he's not hurt. He's puffing pretty heavily through those big old nostrils.
You good?
Yeah, he's
Good. Good. Okay.
You stuck the landing. That was so good. I'm so proud.
A radio up to a evangelist and said, "We got him. He's on the ship."
Oh, thank goodness. Danny radios in. Okay, so we're okay without having the crate, right?
We're gonna have to be.
All right.
Yes, we can steal a tarp from the ferry.
The tarp is fine. It's the crate that he was in before that's the issue. Yeah.
A tarp.
Oh, tarp. Yes. The normal ferry driver shoos Dominique away from the steering wheel and then holds up the tarp. Okay.
It's all good.
And the horizon is starting to lighten up just as you get to shore. The other plane has gone down pretty much in the middle of the channel. And at this point, you'll have to be a little bit more careful as you're traveling through on land. Sasha and Danny can continue to be air recon, but you'll probably be able to reach where you need to go by the end of the night. Or actually, excuse me, by sunset, the next coming sunset, if you're on land. Because, well, you're traveling with a fairly big group, and you're not exactly in a motorized vehicle. That said, there might be people who can get one, or somebody who throws enough money at it.
Challenge accepted.
Nigel, you're up.
Yeah. So the next town that you run into looks like it's a little fishing village. But they do have like some trucks. They're not like military. And it looks like this town's been mostly left alone.
So are we just walking around with a Minotaur just hanging out?
That is a very good question. Are you trying to disguise BB?
I'm going to look in my medical bag and maybe get some gauze and fashion something that kind of looks like a leash.
I
maybe get some wrapped around the head.
blend in with Europeans.
Oh yeah.
So we put a trench coat on him and some sunglasses, and
I've got a fake it till you make it, which means I can quickly come up with a reasonable disguise.
Yes, you can. You know what? And with enough conversation with the locals, and BB is remarkably charming.
Good.
Like some of the villagers are really kind of skittish at first, but then BB actually pulls off like this very courtly bow, and they're actually rather charmed. So
This is our friend Bartholomew.
So this is where we're gonna have our Taylor have a shining moment here. Go ahead and give me a part plus art roll here. You can in fact use your tailoring specialization here. This is a 20 specifically because what you're trying to disguise. So this wouldn't be a big issue.
Right.
But like, yeah, it's there is an issue just because it's a supernatural creature with fairly large parts. But
Right.
I would recommend spending that tailoring to reduce it to a 15.
Yeah, that seems like a good idea.
All right. And Dominique, it sounds like you were wanted to help out as well.
So we've made him into a friend. I was just going to make him into a very, very large dog, like some kind of wolfhound situation. But he's our friend, so I'll just go up and link my arm in them. And I'm a European speaker, so I'm going to emulate.
Yeah. So
this is my husband.
Oh, okay. That would be like a hurt from convince out of you. That's a 6. So I'm gonna go ahead and have that as a +1 to Alex's roll specifically for making BB, one of the family, as it were. So you're gonna start out with a base of 10, and if you're spending the specialty, it's a 15. If you're not spending the specialty, it's a 20.
Yeah, I will be spending the specialty.
Okay, cool. Roll it.
10, 18.
Oh yeah. You managed to find a big enough hat, big enough clothes, rather nice pair of shoes. Thankfully, this time around doesn't have cloven feet, so like it looks like just he's a big strapping French boy. If you pull the hat down far enough to cover the snout. Somebody who knows English makes a joke about a face only a mother could love.
That.
And BB, for his part, sticks his rather large tongue out at the person, kind of in a bratty way.
Oh, you cheeky man.
Mm-hmm. And just as you're about to head out, a jeep with a small group of Nazi foot soldiers rolls up. Papers, please.
Okay.
Yes, we can get you our papers. Just hold on just a moment.
Can that be where I can come in with blend in with Europeans?
Oh yeah, well, a few of them actually have. So you have the European speaker. I believe Dominique has it as well. Yes, you can absolutely use that to blend in.
Could I do a phantasmagoria spell to create an illusion?
What kind of illusion do you want to create?
Our papers.
So that one's gonna. So if you do that, the papers are definitely going to be a little off. Phantasmagoria is a little bit more kind of like spooky illusions.
Oh, okay.
But you can do it. You can absolutely
or
do
I
it if you want to.
Or I could cast a phantasmagoria spell to scare them off.
You absolutely could. And since that's something that's in your school and based on the magic level of this setting, that's going to be a difficulty of an 11, and you're starting out with a base of 8.
So where would the blend in with Europeans action pool come into play then?
Basically in a case where you still look like locals. That is just kind of a thing that is currently happening. They're not saying that you're not from around here sort of thing. So they think you're locals, but there's still traveling papers that are involved.
Okay. I just don't know when I would roll for that kind of thing.
It's for that one, it's less of a role and more of a situational, this just happens. Some of the qualities in Mora are like that, and others do involve, extra bonuses to rolls. So that basically means that they're asking for your papers for traveling as opposed to you're not from around here, we're calling this in.
So I have my Order of Victory medical bag, and it has the quality resourceful, always has the right tools, supplies for the job. This is not like a Mary Poppins bag, is it? I can find some kind of sheet of paper that looks official in some capacity.
It does in fact have some fake travel papers in there. That absolutely works for it. That said, it's not for everybody. So you have papers.
I will use mine. For me and my husband, Bartholomew.
I'm gonna double check real quick.
I rolled a 4.
Okay, with a base of 8 plus 4 and difficulty was 11. Yeah, you do it. You can absolutely summon a scary illusion to kind of freak them out. So as the officer in question is checking Dominique's papers, there is a cry of shock, surprise, and horror from the rest of the Nazis in question when, Sasha, tell me what that illusion looks like. What do they see?
I knew you would ask that.
Of course.
My mind just went blank. I think just a dark, shadowy figure looming, like obviously a kind of corporeal sort of.
Kind of follows them around a little bit.
Yeah.
Wait a minute, I thought Nigel was the one who was supposed to throw shade.
Oh.
That's coming.
Says shadowy figure, clearly very incorporeal, starts kind of following the other Germans around, and they like kind of scramble in the vehicle. They're like, and there's lots of cries of distress. And they're like, and for those of you who may or may not understand German, it's like, okay, what spying mechanism is this from the Thule Society now? And before the officer can actually say anything, he hears the commotion and kind of distractedly hands you back your papers while he's checking on his compatriots.
Donka.
And kind of waves it off, trying to figure out what the heck is going on. So you can make it past that, or you can punch something. However you want. If you want to, kind of continue through this, there will be other. We're starting to run a little close to time here, so I wanted to make sure that we're not like forever here, because I think these were running like 2 to 3 hours.
So we probably need to get on our way to deliver our package.
Yes.
Do we see any cars around, maybe that have a key in the glove box or something? And drive us through town.
Well, if you can get those Germans away from their Jeep long enough, you might be able to steal their car.
Is the figure still kind of following them around?
It is, but they haven't, and like one of them has kind of vacated the vehicle, kind of trying to like see if you can pull it away. So might require a little extra something to get the others away far enough before you can actually steal the vehicle.
Could I maybe use my action pool, whatever, of convincing others? Here, come here. I know where you can come be safe. and find some, like, convince them to go hide somewhere?
That's certainly one option.
Okay.
I would like to use kinetic magic to just start shaking the vehicle.
Yes.
Let's do that. Yeah, absolutely.
Far more interesting.
Mm-hmm. That's terrifying. All right, so you go right ahead. That's going to be a base of 8 for you as well. And since that's in school, it's going to be a difficulty of 11.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
4.
that's enough.
Yeah.
It's absolutely enough. The Jeep starts to shake. There's spooky, dark figure kind of hovering around and kind of haranguing the poor soldiers, and the Jeep is starting to shake.
It's a poltergeist.
Yeah. And actually, one last thing.
I imagine he looks like John Wayne in a military uniform, but just like a more ghostly version.
In that case, I'm going to add one more wrinkle to this. Alex. Go ahead and roll me a soul plus subterfuge.
Seven.
With the spooky thing happening, with the dark shadow following around, and the Jeep shaking, German shoulders turn and look at you, and they recognize you for what you are. A previous renegade experiment from the Thule Society that escaped, that has God knows what powers in it. They're convinced that all of this is coming from you, and they run for the hills. So now you have a Jeep at your disposal because they forgot to bring the keys. And the officer who was kind enough to take Dominique's papers there is chasing them, trying to get them to come back. So who's going to steal the Jeep?
Me. Oh. Do you have drive-through town?
Oh, I have runaway.
Oh.
So I was just going to use the...
Can we help each other?
Jeep to run away.
Absolutely. You can absolutely teamwork that. I'd recommend it.
Yeah.
Like
one's driving, one's navigator.
Exactly. Yeah. Shotgun, and we're just like...
What's your base pool?
That's going to be a body plus transport.
Body plus transport. So 6.
Okay. My runaway comes with 8. So
okay. So running away is specifically with stunts, but I'll allow it. So that's
stunt driver.
I'm going to be nice and round up.
Yeah, I'm a stunt driver with the shaking Jeep and everything.
Yeah. So that's a +2 to your pool, Dominique. They're distracted. You just need to start the car. So that's 10.
There you go.
Nice.
Just don't roll snake eyes.
Right. I rolled an 8. So that's going to be 15.
Yeah, that'll do it. So they run off and you're able to wave everybody. The Jeep isn't necessarily built to handle the weight of a Minotaur, but it'll get you where you need to go, and it'll actually get you there ahead of schedule. Evangelos is literally laughing his head off this entire time. Like, this is the most entertaining journey I have ever been on. And you are absolutely free to take pot shots on any patrols you see on the way without any major incident. You will get to your destination, which is this beautiful farm further, just outside of Brittany.
Beautiful.
And just for the sake of an easy ride, kinetic magic to stabilize the vehicle as we go.
Absolutely.
It is plush.
It is absolutely plush.
Because I am
And it can
way
actually,
too rich for a bumpy ride.
and not only that, it also helps, make sure that the vehicle is stable enough to handle that heavy ass Minotaur. And you each, and Danny radios in and says, I am so jealous of all of y'all right now. And as y'all get closer and you're greeted by your contact, so somebody Evangelist knows, he actually waves in excitement and they start talking excitedly in Greek. And up in the sky above, you're Danny over the radio. He's like, well, sounds like y'all don't need me anymore. I'm gonna go report in. And he does like a little trick flying thing, breathes a little fire, and flies off.
Show off.
Still showing off.
Someone's compensating.
And that evening, you have a fine rustic French meal and a place to stay for the evening. And the next morning, the air is filled with the smell of magical bullshit.
Yes.
BB,
And that, my friends, is a fairly quick session of punching Nazis.
Yay!
Thank you.
We got BB to the farm. That's so good.
Yes. BB has a nice retirement awaiting him.
So grim.
I like the teamwork aspect of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. A lot of the genres within Mora are specifically meant to have a teamwork aspect, with a lot of different characters that are working together towards a similar goal. Like, for example, punching Nazis is kind of inherent with, punching Nazis. With other games such as Ravenswood Academy, you're all students at this magical academy where basically all of your basically parts of Lovecraftian cults feature, and your magic comes from elder gods. Meanwhile, Mystical Rome, which is a kind of a Roman themed high fantasy setting, you're usually, members of a patrician house, or you're working towards similar goals. I run a Mystical Rome game once a month on my channel, twitch.tv, Hedge Cleric. So is there anything specifically that you had any additional questions here for, or do we just tell people where they can find you on the internet, or what you liked most about the Geek Therapeutics program?
I'm really glad I got to be introduced to so many different systems, including punching Nazis. Because I will be frank, punching Nazis probably would not have come across my tabletop, and I would have been worse off. So glad I had the opportunity.
Excellent.
I know there's a lot of different mechanics from different games that it seems to be really useful to just kind of cherry pick and piecemeal into other things to just make them run smoother. Like this the remember that time thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's great.
Yeah, there's a lot of different like improv tools that you can use to kind of help get a little bit more just group cohesion at the very beginning of things, and you really kind of start establishing a relationship besides, you all meet at a tavern. Well, that's a classic for a reason. Having opportunities to, do other things is also really cool.
Yeah, I do like that one. I'm going to be stealing that one. I'm probably
please, by all means.
Going to be leading a meeting and have folks do that.
It's part of it is based on, like a Remember When exercise from standard improv, and with a little twist of, The Hangover, is it's something that's happened and nobody quite remembers it the same way.
So once I've figured out kind of what was going on here, this is actually pretty accessible to, say, folks that maybe they look at the D&D sheet and it's just like, oh my gosh, what does all this mean? This seems to have lots of, okay, let's talk this into existence. Looks like a lot of room for that, which is really cool.
Appreciate that being consistent.
Yeah.
One of the things that we wanted to do when we were putting the system together is make it pretty easy and accessible, really easy to figure out, how you exactly want to do something in the system versus, and not making it too weighty. And since it's more of a cinematic option, there's a lot of things you can kind of talk through and kind of, listen to various ideas. And it's also like a collaborative script writing exercise.
It'll be fun to bring it to a table and say, let's play a movie.
Absolutely. Mora itself will be released on PDF later this fall, with the print version coming at the end of this year. If you want to learn more information about Mora and other products from Mighty Narwhal Productions, you can go to www.mightynarwhal.com. I personally run a Mystical Rome game, which uses the same system once a month on my channel, which is twitch.tv/headgeekcleric. And I also do weekly video, weekly streams where I do like Stitch and Bitches with game designers. So, or, other folks who are running cool things specifically around games. As a matter of fact, there are some folks on the Geek Therapeutic staff that I would love to have as guests sometime. We'll just have to, make scheduling work. But that's it from me. Thank you all so much for coming and playing with me. And I wish you all the best of luck, because I believe y'all are at the end of your cohort here. And I really hope that you have a whole bunch of success with what you've learned here tonight.